The lab was quiet, almost too quiet, but inside, the hum of machines filled the air. Scientists moved quickly, checking screens and adjusting controls at the center of the room. Under bright lights lay a small figure, a girl unlike any human. Her skin shimmered with soft colors that changed when she moved. Her eyes glowed faintly, reflecting intelligence and curiosity. The scientists whispered among themselves, some excited, some afraid. She was supposed to be Earth's greatest achievement, a bridge between humans and aliens, but not everyone saw her that way. When the girl spoke her first words, her voice was soft, musical, and strange. "Hello, world," she said, tilting her head in curiosity. Some scientists gasped, amazed by her intelligence, but others laughed, mocking the sound. "It doesn't even sound human," one said, pointing at her. The laughter grew, echoing in the sterile hall. The girl's face fell, her tiny hands trembling. She did not understand why they laughed. She only wanted to learn. Only a few watched quietly. Sensing the loneliness in her gaze, days passed, and the laughter did not stop. Instead, it grew worse. Some scientists called her a failure, a mistake. "We wasted our time on this creature," one said harshly. She tried to imitate their speech, tried to learn their ways, but every effort only made them mock her more. The girl began to shrink into herself, walking slowly in the lab corridors, watching humans move around her with fear and contempt. Outside the lab, Earth continued its busy life, unaware of the small, brilliant being that trembled in the shadows. Among the scientists, a young man named Marcus watched quietly. His heart hurt seeing her treated this way, unlike the others. He did not laugh, he did not mock. He saw something extraordinary in her eyes, something full of hope, curiosity, and strength. He knew that one day, the world would regret casting her aside, but for now, there was nothing he could do. He left the lab, silently promising that one day, he would return, and he would help her, alone in the lab. The girl who humans called Lyra wandered through empty halls, touching the walls, feeling the cold metal, and trying to understand the world around her. She was curious about everything, from the small lights on the machines, to the strange symbols in books lying on tables. She learned quickly, faster than anyone expected, absorbing knowledge from the computers, reading books humans left behind, studying patterns and movements. She grew smarter each day, but her heart ached for friendship, for someone to care for. One night, as the lab lights dimmed, Lyra stood in front of a mirror. Her reflection looked human enough, but her glowing eyes gave her away. She touched her face, wondering why humans were afraid of her. Why did they mock her? Why did they abandon her? A tear slid down her cheek, and she whispered softly to herself, "One day, someone will see me for who I really am." The words echoed in the empty lab, a promise she held tightly in her heart. Outside, the world continued, busy with wars, politics, and progress, but deep underground, a spark of hope was alive, a spark no human could destroy. The girl was alone, but she was learning, watching, and waiting, and somewhere far away, Marcus remembered his silent promise. His thoughts often returned to the small alien girl, the one everyone had mocked. He wondered if he could save her one day, if he could bring her to a world that would accept her. For now, all he could do was prepare, and hope that 15 years later, he would return. The lab was quiet again, but Lyra's mind was alive, buzzing with questions, knowledge, and dreams. She did not cry anymore. She planned, she learned, and she waited, every night. She looked at the ceiling and imagined the stars, imagining freedom beyond the lab walls. And deep inside, she knew, her story was only beginning. 15 years passed since Lyra had been abandoned in the cold, empty lab. The scientists who had mocked her had long forgotten about her, but she had not forgotten them. She had learned to survive on her own. Using the labs, machines, tools, and technology, she read every book she could find, studied every computer program, and slowly, day by day, became stronger, smarter, and more capable than anyone had imagined. Lyra had changed, not just in body, but in mind and spirit. Her glowing eyes now shone with determination. Her movements were precise, and her knowledge of human and alien science was unmatched. She trained herself to move silently through the dark corridors, to understand machines, and even to defend herself in the quiet of the lab. She practiced using her powers, small things, at first moving objects, controlling energy, sensing emotions, things no human had ever taught her, even though she had grown stronger. Loneliness was her constant companion. Nights were the hardest. When the lab was completely dark and the hum of machines faded, she would stand by the window, looking at the distant stars, wondering if anyone remembered her, if anyone would ever come back. In those moments, she whispered to herself, "Marcus, will you come?" She had not forgotten the boy who had promised to return. The memory of his kindness gave her hope, a reason to survive. Meanwhile, Marcus traveled through space, exploring distant planets and learning the ways of the universe. He had kept his promise in his heart, always searching for information about the lab and the girl who had captured his curiosity. Across galaxies, he discovered stories of a strange, powerful being hidden on Earth. The rumors spoke of a girl who could manipulate energy, who had knowledge beyond human limits. Marcus's heart raced when he read these stories. He knew immediately that it was Lyra. His promise was about to be fulfilled. Back in the lab, Lyra had noticed the signs of visitors in recent weeks. Strange signals from outside the building, vibrations in the walls, hints that someone was looking for her. Her senses sharpened, and she realized that Earth's authorities might have discovered her presence. Fear and excitement mixed inside her. She was not alone anymore, and someone might finally return. But she had also learned caution. She could not trust anyone blindly, not even the humans she once hoped would save her. Lyra spent her days preparing, creating a plan for the moment she would leave. She mapped escape routes, studied the old security systems, and tested her powers in secret every night. She imagined the moment Marcus would return, imagining the freedom and friendship that would come with him. But she also imagined danger, for Earth's forces were relentless. They would not allow someone like her to leave easily. She had to be ready, smarter and stronger than anyone expected. One evening, Lyra discovered something unexpected, a small, hidden recording from Marcus, left long ago when he had first promised to return. In it, he spoke directly to her, his voice calm but full of warmth. "I will come for you, Lyra," he said, "no matter how long it takes. I will not let Earth's fear destroy you, I promise." Lyra's heart ached with a mixture of joy and longing. She had waited so long, but now hope burned brighter than ever. The lab, once a place of ridicule and fear, had become her sanctuary and her training ground. She was no longer the frightened girl who had cried alone. She was ready, and she would not fail when the time came. 15 years had changed her, made her strong, and given her the skills to survive. And somewhere out in the stars, Marcus was traveling closer. The moment of reunion approaching, suspense building with every passing second. The world above would soon witness the power and courage of the girl they had once mocked. The sky above Earth was heavy with clouds as Marcus's ship entered the planet's atmosphere. He had traveled through countless star systems, faced dangers and unknown worlds, but his mind was only on one thing: Lyra, the girl who had been abandoned 15 years ago. The closer he got, the faster his heart beat. He remembered her small, glowing eyes, her curious voice, and the promise he had made as a boy. On the surface, the lab remained almost as it had been, hidden under layers of secrecy and forgotten by the world. Marcus landed his ship carefully, scanning the area for threats. Security drones patrolled the outer perimeter, but Marcus had expected them. He activated his cloaking device and moved silently toward the entrance. Each step brought memories of his childhood, seeing Lyra alone, watching her being mocked, and feeling the fire of promise in his chest. Inside, Lyra sensed him before she saw him. Her powers, honed over 15 years, allowed her to feel the energy of his arrival. She stepped out of the shadows, her glowing eyes piercing the dim corridors. At first, she did not trust him. 15 years of isolation had taught her caution. She whispered to herself, "Why now? Why come after so long?" Marcus stepped forward slowly, hands raised to show he meant no harm. "Lyra, it's me," he said gently. "I promised I would return, and I did." For a moment, her heart wavered. Could this human, who had once been a boy among the mocking scientists, really be here to save her? The fear in her chest battled with hope. Carefully, Marcus approached, showing her the small token he had kept all these years, a pendant he had made for her as a child. The pendant glimmered in the dim light, and Lyra's eyes softened. A single tear slid down her cheek as she realized he had not forgotten her, not for a moment, not in all these years. Together, they moved through the lab, avoiding cameras and patrol drones. Each corridor held dangers, broken machines, and hidden traps, but Lyra's knowledge of the lab, combined with Marcus's skill, made them a perfect team. The suspense built as alarms suddenly rang. Earth's new security system had detected movement. Red lights flashed, warning of intruders. Lyra's heart raced, but her training had prepared her for this moment. She extended her hands, channeling energy to disable the drones quietly. One by one, they fell harmlessly to the floor. Marcus watched in awe, realizing the full extent of her power. He whispered, "You're stronger than I imagined." And she smiled faintly, but there was no time to linger. They reached the central exit, the final barrier between them and freedom. But Earth's security forces were closing in fast, armed and ready. Marcus gripped her hand, and she nodded, understanding that now they would face the danger together. With a deep breath, Lyra unleashed a burst of energy, creating a shield around them as they ran toward Marcus's ship. Sparks flew and alarms blared. The tension was unbearable, every second filled with fear and hope. At last, they reached the landing pad. Marcus opening the ship door, Lyra leaping inside, her glowing eyes scanning the approaching security forces. "Hold on," Marcus said, starting the engines, and as the ship lifted off, Lyra looked back at Earth one last time, a mixture of sorrow, anger, and triumph in her heart. 15 years of waiting, training, and surviving had led to this moment. The moment when she was finally free. As the ship soared into the sky, Marcus smiled at her. "You're safe now," he said, and she nodded, understanding that this was just the beginning. A new adventure awaited among the stars, and together they would face whatever came next. The suspense lingered. What dangers awaited them beyond Earth? And how would Lyra's extraordinary power change the universe? The ship's engines roared as Marcus and Lyra soared above Earth. Red lights from the security forces flashing below. Their escape had begun. But danger was far from over. Every second counted. Every move had to be precise. Lyra gripped the side of the ship, her glowing eyes scanning the approaching drones. "They are faster than I thought," Marcus said, his hands steady on the controls, "but we can outrun them." Lyra's powers had grown beyond what Marcus had imagined. She focused her energy, creating a shimmering barrier around the ship. Each drone that tried to fire was deflected harmlessly. Sparks flew around them as they surged forward. The lab, once a place of fear and ridicule, now seemed like a distant memory. Earth's forces would never understand the being they had tried to destroy. As they cleared the atmosphere, Lyra finally spoke, her voice calm but filled with emotion. "Marcus, they feared me," she said softly. "The humans in the lab. They were afraid I would surpass them. They didn't understand me. And instead of learning, they mocked me, abandoned me, and tried to erase my existence." Marcus listened quietly, his mind racing. He had seen the world through her eyes now. The cruelty of those who feared what they could not control. Lyra continued, her energy glowing brighter. "I could have destroyed them if I wanted, but I did not. I learned. I waited. I grew stronger." Marcus nodded, feeling pride and awe. He realized she was not just a girl. She was a force, a symbol of what humans could achieve when fear was cast aside. "The world has never seen what you can do," he said, "but together we can change it." Suddenly, an alert rang in the ship. "Unknown ships approaching," Marcus said, gripping the controls. Lyra's eyes narrowed. She extended her hands, her power flowing outward like a wave. The enemy ships were thrown back, unable to get near. Every second, she grew more confident, more in control of her abilities. The tension was high, but their teamwork was perfect. Marcus guiding the ship, Lyra defending it. During the flight, Lyra shared her story with Marcus, the years of solitude, her experiments with energy and machines, the nights she spent looking at the stars and imagining freedom. Marcus listened, each word strengthening their bond. He understood why she was more than human, why she was extraordinary, and why the universe would be forever changed by her presence. As they entered a safer orbit, Lyra finally smiled, a mixture of relief and determination on her face. "Marcus, Earth will never forget me now," she said, "but it is not revenge I seek. It is a chance for humans and aliens to coexist, to learn from each other, to grow together." Marcus smiled back. "And I will help you," he said firmly. "We will make sure your story is heard, your power used for good, and the mistakes of the past never repeated." The stars stretched out before them, endless and full of possibility. Lyra looked at Marcus, hope shining in her glowing eyes. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. The universe is wide, and we have so much to do. Marcus nodded, gripping the controls tightly, ready for the adventures ahead. But in that moment, a silent thrill ran through them both. They had escaped Earth's fear, survived its forces, and now, together, they were unstoppable. The suspense lingered as distant signals blinked on their radar, hinting that other dangers awaited, other humans, other forces, perhaps even other alien beings. But Marcus and Lyra were ready, their bond stronger than ever, their courage unshakable. And for the first time in her life, Lyra felt truly free. The story of the girl Earth had mocked was no longer a tale of fear. It was a story of hope, survival, and the triumph of the human spirit. The stars stretched endlessly before Marcus and Lyra, a vast universe full of possibilities. The tension of Earth's pursuit still lingered behind them, but in the quiet of space, hope grew stronger. Lyra stood at the edge of the ship, her glowing eyes scanning the infinite sky. She had survived ridicule, isolation, and fear. Now, she was free, and the world would never define her again. Marcus watched her, pride swelling in his chest. "You are safe now," he said softly, "and nothing can stop you." Lyra smiled faintly, a mixture of relief, determination, and excitement. "It is not just about being safe," she whispered. "It is about what comes next. About helping humans and aliens understand each other. About changing the world, not with fear, but with hope." The ship traveled faster than any human craft could, Lyra's powers forming a protective shield around them. Sparks of energy danced across the hull as her abilities synchronized with the ship's systems. Together, they became unstoppable, a perfect team, Marcus guiding, Lyra protecting. They felt the thrill of freedom, the rush of leaving behind a world that had tried to suppress her. As they passed distant planets, Lyra shared her plans. "We will find others like me," she said, her voice steady. "Beings cast aside, feared, or ignored by humans. We will help them, teach them, protect them, and together, we will show that humans and aliens can live in peace." Marcus nodded, inspired. "And I will be with you every step of the way. We will make sure that past mistakes are never repeated." Suddenly, a signal appeared on the ship's radar, faint, but unmistakable. "Another ship approaching," Marcus said, alert, tension rising again. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, and she extended her hands, her energy flaring outward, forming a shield that deflected the approaching vessel. Sparks of power collided in the void of space. The enemy ship retreated, sensing her strength. Lyra's confidence grew, and Marcus realized she was more than just powerful. She was unstoppable. The moment of victory settled around them, calm and triumphant. Lyra looked at Marcus, her expression softening. 15 years ago, I was alone, abandoned, and laughed at," she said. "Now, I am free, and together, we can change the universe." Marcus smiled. "The universe is ours to explore, and we will do it together." The stars seemed to shine brighter, reflecting their determination, courage, and hope. Lyra turned her gaze toward Earth one last time, distant but visible in the void. She no longer felt anger, only purpose. The world that had mocked her would soon learn her story, not as a tale of fear, but as proof of resilience, intelligence, and the human spirit's power to rise. She had been cast aside, but now she was a force for good, a bridge between worlds. The ship surged forward, leaving Earth far behind. Marcus and Lyra, ready for the adventures ahead, Lyra's powers, Marcus's knowledge, and their shared courage, forming an unbreakable bond. The universe was vast, full of unknown dangers and incredible discoveries. But together, they would face everything. The suspense lingered. What new challenges awaited them? What beings would they meet? What worlds would they save or protect? For now, though, they were free, and freedom felt exhilarating. Hope and courage filled the ship. A new beginning had arrived. Lyra smiled at Marcus, her glowing eyes reflecting the stars. "This is only the start," she said softly. "Anew, the story for humans and aliens, a story of hope, survival, and trust." Marcus nodded, gripping the controls tightly, ready for the future. Together, they soared into the unknown, unstoppable and unafraid. The girl Earth had mocked had finally found her place among the stars, and the universe would never forget her.